Hi, Adam. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cross Border Unpacked webinar from ShipBob. My name is Enda Breslin. I'm the general manager for ShipBob here in UK and Europe, and it's my pleasure to spend the next 25 minutes with you and with Adam from Spikeball. Adam, would you like to say hi?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, great, Adam. Thanks again for your time and for joining us. I know you have a lot of expertise in this area. If you don't mind, Adam, just probably giving us a quick intro to yourself and Spikeball.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, my name is Adam Legess. I've been with Spikeball for about 6.5 years. Kind of started as just general warehouse manager, and I've kind of just expanded into more of the global stuff over the past few years, and I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, Spikeball, I'm actually probably quite a few people know about Spikeball, the brand, the product, the sport, the fun. If you'd like to give us a little bit of background on the origin story of how Spikeball and even the sport perhaps even came to be.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to try to do this as much justice as I can. So, like I said, I've been with Spikeball for about 6-7 years, but Spikeball actually goes back to sometime in the 80s. Chris, the owner of Spikeball, he played as a kid. It was a big hit with his family. So they had like the original set, and it was this like neon pink and turquoise, very 80s looking set. And sometime in the early 2000s, they were all on like a family vacation, and they brought this set out, but it was all duct taped together and just trying to hold itself together. And they just, they had the idea of getting a new one, so they're trying to find Spikeball somewhere, and they just can't find it. And it turns out that the patent or the rights or the licensing, all that kind of stuff, is up for grabs. So Chris and some family members and friends of his, they decided they would go in and just try to bring life back to the brand Spikeball. And here we are. I don't know, 15 or so years later. So it's not the original Spikeball from the 80s, but it's a totally rebranded, completely different company that was rebuilt from the ground up. Here we are.
That's an amazing story, and it has become a global phenomenon. Let's move on to that. So then, when did the decision come around to spread internationally?
Yeah, so it happened pretty naturally. Chris was shipping these things out of his basement. He would just make runs to the post office every day for, I think, a year or two. And somewhere along the lines, and it's like I said, I haven't been here since the beginning, so I'm filling in some blanks here. But we had, people reach out from all over the world, thanks to the internet, wanting a Spikeball set. Chris very early on made the decision that it's more important to get the Spikeball sets in their hands as opposed to making money off of that sale. So it was kind of whatever we have to do to get Spikeball in people's hands, let's do it. And so it was that mentality, and then using those people as ambassadors. That was a choice from early on. So giving them power, not just to play the sport, but to actually spread the sport, and kind of turning them into little marketplaces. So people would reach out, and typically like your college student or something like that, they want to make a little extra money. They're really passionate about the game. So we would sell them sets at whatever the wholesale price was, and they became like a little international store. And that's how we planted those little seeds per se. Yeah.
That's amazing. So basically, it's a customer-driven story. They came to you and said, "Hey, we like your product. How do we get it?" So how did you actually serve those customers internationally from the beginning? How did you get the product to the ambassadors initially?
Sure, yeah. Just like we would anyone else, really. I mean, they would reach out. We would have someone who was, I mean, that was their job, was to be in charge of, the ambassador front. And so they would reach out and we would treat them just like any other customer. We would sell them to the wholesale price. We would ship it to them from our location here in the U.S., smack dab in the middle of the U.S. We're just south of Chicago. So again, we were losing money on that, but it's the concept of getting the sport out there, getting the game out there. So yeah, we would just ship directly from here in Kankakee.
And as you said, that was your investment. That was what you had to do to serve the loyal customers, the ambassadors, at whatever cost. Just get them get them the product. So that must have been actually kind of time consuming for you to do that. It was in the beginning, right?
Absolutely. Time consuming for us to make the order happen, and also time consuming just to get it there. You know, we know we're going to lose money on it, and so we're trying to lose the least amount of money, right? So we're not expediting these orders. We're not overnighting this stuff. So the end consumer is going to take, however long it does take to ship to Germany or France or the UK from Chicago, and then on our own, inside the warehouse, it was, we're going to have to ship these master cases, and are we going to consolidate these? How are we going to do this? So it did end up for quite a long time. We would do different type of consolidation orders. And so, maybe those orders do sit in the warehouse for a day or 2-3 days before we have enough to actually ship to or send to the consolidation, to make that make sense.
Yeah, but it gave you that toe in the water. It gave you then that feedback to see if there's more ambassadors out there and if the market could grow. So I think it's a totally natural approach to do that in small steps.
Yeah.
And engage what the market reaction is. Now, doing that as well, you kind of have to take a financial risk at times. You got to put stock into those local markets, and once you get into a trade zone, into a local market, you don't want to take it back out again. So, kind of walk us through, what your thought process was on moving certain amount of stock into local, managing stock generally across borders.
Sure. Yeah. So, you mentioned it. It's very natural. I'm not in the marketing side of things at all, but you kind of have to listen to your consumers, and you have to just look at where they are. And luckily for us, it was them coming to us, and it was less of a guessing game, because we knew we had people in Germany, we knew we had people in France and the UK. Those were probably the three biggest in the beginning. So yeah, it's how do we get product to them the best way possible? And like I said, we started with the ambassadors, but you can only do that for so long. You kind of have to know somebody, right? You have to know an ambassador to get a set. So after that, you kind of run through that cycle. Then it's time to start looking at, do we do a 3PL? Do we keep shipping international? Do we open up our own warehouse there? We definitely looked into that. That's if you don't know, that is very expensive to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did have a different third-party logistics company for quite a while in Canada, and I believe it was the Netherlands for quite some time before we found ShipBob. But to get your product there the way you want to get it there, 3PLs are definitely a big help. They're local. They tend to know the landscape and everything. So yeah, when it was time, we went with the 3PL.
Gotcha. And then you mentioned UK, Germany, France being larger markets, and initially the impetus came from the ambassadors initially. But then, how did you actually then go about making the choice for which market to sell in first, which sales channel to go through? Some go straight for retail or B2B, or even try Amazon. So how did you kind of make that decision then on which markets we wanted to be in, and the temptation of all those different channels out there.
Yeah, so ultimately we went with all of them. The direct to consumer, Amazon, B2B. And I can't say, I wasn't there for this decision, but direct to consumer, I think, was the first. So getting some product into those 3PLs, sticking with, the big sellers. We're not trying to ship every single T-shirt we have to the 3PLs. If somebody really wants one, we'll make that happen from the US. But getting those core items, the standard set, your regular balls, things like that, in those 3PLs, and choosing where to put it. We went with somewhere that was kind of centrally located. We think in the Netherlands, we're right there between Germany and France, not too far away from the UK. And then when we do get orders from countries a little farther away, it's totally doable. It's Europe. So, yeah, direct to consumer for sure. I think Amazon kind of came shortly after that as well as B2B.
Got it. So you kind of took the lead from the initial impetus again, came from the ambassadors saying, we want to work with you, get us your product. And staying with the D2C approach just ensured, I think, that you had a direct relationship with who the actual customer is, rather than going through a sales channel, perhaps, that would not give you that contact to the end customer. What would you say, though, has been the biggest impact for fulfilling locally versus doing it from the US?
Yeah, I mean, customer satisfaction is a huge one, as well as our customer satisfaction, with the 3PL. We initially had a different 3PL, like I had mentioned, and one reason, maybe the main reason why we switched from that 3PL to ShipBob was customer service. So not only did we want to provide customer service for our end consumers, but we were also looking for the same thing. So we've been really fortunate with ShipBob. You guys are great to work with. But yeah, it at the end of the day, we don't want it to take weeks for a package to get there, and when it finally does get there, it's totally beat up from traveling all the way from the US, or maybe it doesn't get there because we didn't validate the address correctly. So we've now wasted maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks when something comes back, trying to ship it to the other side of the world. That's always disappointing. So yeah, the biggest thing I would, is that customer satisfaction.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the feedback, and you're great to work with.
Sure.
What have though been the biggest surprises for you? You're there 6.5 years. You've been there, seen that, done that. What are the big surprises and learnings for you in entering into new markets?
Yeah, from my perspective, because like I said, I'm not so much into the marketing. I'm not working with the sport itself, but the biggest just kind of funny things is people, different areas have different like packaging preferences, or just how different carriers work. I think my coworker Tom recently said that all carriers are not made the same. They're not all equal. And we've both had experience in that, and using different carriers and from different 3PLs, just from how the package was handled, or it was the package delivered to the right place, did it get sent back? So that's all improved quite a bit. But the funny thing is, in the US, we want our product. I just got an email this morning about it. We shipped out a product in its retail box, as we normally do, because we don't want to have a lot of waste. We have a spot for a shipping label right there on the box, and it arrived a little beat up, as it does. And in Europe, that's what they're looking for. But in the US, we want as much packaging as possible so our product arrives as pristine as possible. So that's kind of where our mindset was. And then when we transfer that over to Europe, you were getting all these emails. Why so much packaging? Why so much packaging? You guys have so much waste. So little things like that you have to adjust for. And luckily, the way your guys' system works, it's very easy to do that. You just pop in there and change your packaging preference. But yeah, little goofy things like that.
That's a good example. There's probably many more goofy examples, but the one on the carriers is it's kind of typical one where pretty much every country is going to have about 3 or 4 carriers you'd want to work with, and then you multiply that by country, and then it gets blown out to 20 or 30 carriers. So managing those relationships on your own would not be such a great idea. And the packaging one is just a sustainability issue where it is it's more than a buzzword. Over here, it's we get that a lot. That why are you using plastic? Tape. We don't see any plastics. Too much dunnage, as you said.
Yeah,
reduce that. So different set of issues, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me, Adam, what's next for Spikeball?
Yeah, the next big thing is the World Roundnet Championship. That's going to take place in London. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's sometime in August, but I just mentioned the word roundnet, and I should say I should mention this. So Spikeball is the brand name. The sport itself is called roundnet. So I haven't said it much during this, but I just wanted to point out that we are Spikeball, and the game is roundnet. So the roundnet championship is taking place in London, and I believe we're the main sponsor for it. So I think it is the Spikeball Roundnet World Championship. But yeah, that should be really exciting. It's the second time it's happening. 2 years ago, it took place in Belgium, and so we're all pretty buzzed about it.
That's exciting. I do urge those listening and watching to check out Spikeball. First of all, it's a super fun sport. Now the summer's coming up as well. It's just great timing. The World Roundnet Championships on August 29th in Guildford in Surrey, outside of London. So anybody in the London area on that bank holiday weekend at the end of August, urge you to jump on a train, get down and check it out. There's more information on Spikeball's website as well. So Adam, I got one more just bonus question before we let you go here. You've been great. But one more bonus question just for those folks who in the audience who are watching, who may be where you were 6.5 years ago or looking at international expansion. What would be, I'll put you on the spot here. Are there 3 things that you would say, here are the 3 things you should do that are really going to help your business with global expansion?
Oh man. 3 things. I think the first thing is listen to your customers. I think that's how we got to where we are. Utilize them if you can. If you're in a situation like we are where we could use those ambassadors, creating a partnership with you and your customers creates a very close connection and a lot of brand loyalty. And to go with Spikeball's values, have fun. However you can. If that's writing cute little notes and putting them in your packages, have fun with it. If you're not having fun, then it kind of drags on, doesn't it? So
it sounds like you guys are all about the product. You live and breathe it every day. So listen to the customer, foster ambassadors, and hey, have fun in the process.
Yeah, have a good time.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, Adam, you've been fantastic. We really enjoy working with you guys. Watching your international expansion and growth over the years has been phenomenal. So thank you so much for your support.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was great.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to hand over to the next session right now. So enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Thank you.